The crowd at Lakeside Coffee was louder than usual, and Ethan Parker couldn't hear himself think as he tried to balance his checkbook on a coffee-stained napkin. His 9-year-old daughter, Lily, sat across from him, pink tongue poking out in concentration as she worked on her homework. The 32-year-old single father had exactly $23 to last until payday, 3 days away, and the math wasn't adding up. "Dad, I'm hungry," Lily whispered, her pencil pausing over her math worksheet. "Can I have another muffin?" Ethan glanced at his watch, still 2 hours until the mechanic would finish with his 15-year-old sedan. The repairs would eat up next month's savings, but he needed the car to get to his construction job across town. He forced a smile, the kind that didn't reach his tired eyes. "How about we share one?" he offered, mentally recalculating how much he could spare. "And then I'll tell you some jokes while we wait." As he stood to place their order, he noticed a woman sitting alone in the corner. She wore a simple gray sweater that somehow looked expensive, her dark hair pulled back in a messy ponytail. What caught his attention was her expression blank, distracted, staring out the window as if the rainy Seattle afternoon held all the answers she was searching for. While waiting in line, Ethan found himself stealing glances at the stranger. She hadn't touched her coffee, and something in her posture spoke of an invisible weight. He recognized that look. He'd seen it in his own mirror enough times after his wife's death 3 years ago. After paying for a blueberry muffin that cost nearly as much as an hour of his labor, Ethan returned to their table. Lily immediately broke the muffin in 2 precise halves, the way she always did with shared treats. "Dad, you promised jokes," she reminded him between bites, crumbs dotting her chin. "I did, didn't I?" Ethan stroked his stubbled jaw. "Let's see, why don't scientists trust atoms?" Lily shrugged, her eyes sparkling with anticipation. "Because they make up everything." He delivered the punchline with exaggerated enthusiasm. Lily groaned but giggled anyway. "That's terrible." "I've got more," Ethan continued, warming to his subject. "What do you call a fake noodle?" "What?" Lily played along. "An impasta," Ethan declared with a terrible Italian accent. A soft sound caught his attention, not Lily's expected groan, but a barely audible chuckle from a few tables away. The woman in the corner was watching them, a reluctant smile playing at her lips before she quickly looked away. Ethan lowered his voice. "Looks like someone else appreciates dad jokes." "Nobody appreciates dad jokes, Dad," Lily informed him solemnly. "They're just being nice. Challenge accepted." Ethan winked at his daughter before raising his voice just enough. "Why don't eggs tell jokes?" He paused dramatically, making sure the woman could hear. They'd crack each other up. This time, the woman's laugh was clearer, though she tried to hide it behind her coffee cup. When she met Ethan's eyes, something sparked between them, recognition, perhaps, of shared humanity in a crowded room. The woman's phone rang, breaking the moment. Her expression instantly transformed as she answered, her posture stiffening. Ethan couldn't hear her words over the coffee shop noise, but he could see the tension in her shoulders. The call ended quickly, and she began gathering her things, movements crisp and efficient. As she passed their table, Lily spoke up. "My dad knows lots more jokes if you need them. They're really bad, but they make you laugh anyway." The woman stopped, surprised. Up close, Ethan could see she was around his age, with intelligent hazel eyes and the faintest freckles across her nose. "Is that so?" she asked, her voice warm despite her obvious hurry. "I'm Lily," his daughter continued, emboldened, "and my dad's jokes are his superpower. They always make me feel better when I'm sad." Ethan felt his face flush. "I apologize for my daughter." "She hasn't learned about boundaries yet." The woman's expression softened. "No, it's nice actually. I'm Natalie, Natalie Cooper." She hesitated, then added, "And I could use a superpower today." Before Ethan could respond, Natalie glanced at her watch and grimaced. "I'm late for a meeting, but thank you both for the laugh. I needed it more than you know." She was gone before Ethan could say anything else, leaving behind only the faint scent of expensive perfume and the memory of her smile. "She seemed nice," Lily observed, returning to her homework. "Yeah," Ethan agreed, watching through the window as Natalie hailed a taxi in the rain. "She did." He didn't expect to see her again. Seattle was too big and their worlds seemed too far apart. But 3 days later, As he was finishing up a drywall installation in an upscale downtown office building, a familiar voice stopped him mid-hammer. "So, do you have any jokes about construction, or just dairy products and pasta?" Ethan turned to find Natalie standing in the doorway, dressed in a tailored charcoal suit that screamed success. Her hair was pulled back in a sleek bun, but her eyes held the same warmth he remembered. He lowered his hammer, suddenly conscious of his dusty work clothes. "I'm sorry, do we know each other?" A flicker of hurt crossed her face before she smiled. "Coffee shop. 3 days ago, my emotional breakdown was interrupted by your egg jokes." Recognition dawned. "Natalie, right? I'm Ethan Parker." He wiped his hand on his jeans before extending it. "And I wasn't joking about construction. I was actually working." Her laugh was genuine. "I can see that, and it looks like you're working in my new office." "Your office?" Ethan glanced around at the half-finished space. "Well, one of them," she clarified, stepping further into the room. "I just purchased this building. I'm converting it into the new headquarters for Cooper Tech Solutions." The name clicked into place. Cooper Tech Solutions was one of the fastest-growing software companies in the Pacific Northwest. He'd seen their logo around town but never connected it with the woman in the coffee shop. "You're that Cooper?" he asked, then immediately regretted how it sounded. Natalie's smile faltered. "Is that a problem?" "No, not at all," he backpedaled. "Just surprised, you seemed so normal." She supplied with a raised eyebrow. "I was going to say human," Ethan admitted. "Most CEOs I've worked for treat construction guys like we're invisible." Natalie's expression warmed again. "Well, I'm trying to stay human. Some days are harder than others." She glanced around the space. "Your work is impressive. Thanks, it's just drywall, but I take pride in it. As you should." She paused, seeming to deliberate. "Listen, this might be unorthodox, but would you and your daughter like to join me for dinner tomorrow?" As thanks for the impromptu comedy show when I really needed it, Ethan blinked, caught off guard. "That's really nice but unnecessary. It was just a few bad jokes." "Sometimes that's exactly what's necessary," Natalie insisted. "Besides, I'm new to this neighborhood, and I could use some local insights. Consider it a business meeting if that makes it less awkward." Ethan hesitated. He couldn't remember the last time he'd been out to dinner with anyone other than Lily. Dating as a single parent had proven nearly impossible, not that this was a date. And yet, something about Natalie made him want to say yes. "Lily has soccer practice until 6, he found himself saying. "Perfect. There's a family restaurant near the park, Giovanni's, 7 o'clock. "We know it well," Ethan confirmed, trying to ignore his hammering heart. "We'll be there." After Natalie left, Ethan stood motionless, hammer still in hand. What had just happened? And why did he feel like his entire world had shifted on its axis? The next evening, after changing his shirt 3 times and enduring Lily's amused commentary on his nervousness, they arrived at Giovanni's. The small Italian restaurant was busy, but not crowded, with red checkered tablecloths and the comforting smell of garlic and tomato sauce filling the air. Natalie was already seated at a corner table, looking considerably more relaxed in jeans and a simple blue blouse. She waved when she spotted them, her face lighting up. "You came," she said, standing to greet them. "We said we would," Ethan replied, helping Lily into her chair. "Although I should warn you that Lily has very strong opinions about pizza toppings." "Pineapple belongs on pizza," Lily announced solemnly. "It's science." Natalie laughed. "A controversial stance, but I respect your conviction. I'm personally a traditionalist margarita all the way." "Boring," Lily declared, then immediately covered her mouth. "Sorry, that was rude." "No, it was honest," Natalie corrected. "And honesty is important. Your dad seems like someone who values that too." "He says lying makes your nose grow," Lily said seriously. "But I think that's just from a movie." The easy conversation continued through dinner, with Lily dominating much of it. Ethan watched in amazement as Natalie engaged with his daughter as if she were the most fascinating person in the room. She asked about school, about Lily's soccer team, about her favorite books, and actually listened to the answers. When Lily excused herself to visit the restroom, a brief silence fell between them. "You have an amazing daughter," Natalie said finally. "She's the best thing in my life," Ethan replied honestly. "Has been since the day she was born." And her mother, Natalie asked carefully. Ethan took a deep breath. Sarah died 3 years ago, cancer. Natalie's eyes filled with compassion. I'm so sorry, Ethan. It was hard, he acknowledged. Still is sometimes, but we're figuring it out together. You're doing a wonderful job, Natalie said, her hand briefly touching his across the table. Anyone can see that. The simple validation nearly undid him. For years, he'd been simply surviving, doing his best, but constantly doubting whether it was enough. Thank you, he managed before Lily returned, saving him from his emotion. As dinner wound down, Natalie insisted on paying, waving away Ethan's protests. Consider it a business expense, she teased. I've been getting valuable market research on the local pizza preferences. Outside the restaurant, the spring evening was mild, with streetlights coming on in the gathering dusk. We're just a few blocks away, Ethan said, gesturing vaguely toward their apartment. Thank you for dinner, it was. Nice, Natalie finished for him. Really nice. She hesitated, then asked, would it be okay if we did this again sometime? Yes, Lily exclaimed before Ethan could answer. Can we go to the zoo? Natalie probably hasn't seen our zoo yet. Natalie laughed. I haven't actually. Then it's settled, Lily declared with the confident authority of a 9-year-old. Zoo date. Next Saturday. Ethan's cheeks burned. Lily, Natalie is probably very busy, not too busy for the zoo, Natalie cut in, her eyes meeting his with unspoken meaning. Unless you're busy. No, Ethan said softly. We're not busy. As they walked home, Lily skipping ahead, Ethan felt something he hadn't experienced in years' hope. It was dangerous, he knew. Natalie lived in a different world. She was successful, sophisticated, wealthy. He was a widowed construction worker living paycheck to paycheck. But for tonight, he would allow himself to hope. Saturday at the zoo evolved into Sunday at the Science Center, which led to Wednesday evening walks in the park. Before Ethan realized what was happening, Natalie had become a regular part of their lives. She fit into their small world with surprising ease, bringing laughter and a fresh perspective without trying to change their established routines. Ethan learned that beneath Natalie's successful exterior was a woman who worked too hard, slept too little, and carried the weight of a company and its hundreds of employees on her shoulders. She'd built Cooper Tech from nothing after leaving a toxic corporate environment 5 years earlier. Her success had come at the cost of any personal life. I've been so focused on proving myself, she admitted one evening as they walked along the waterfront after dropping Lily at a sleepover. Building something that matters. I didn't realize how lonely it had become until that day in the coffee shop. What happened that day? Ethan asked, remembering her distracted expression. Natalie was quiet for a moment. I just found out my CFO was embezzling funds, someone I trusted completely from the beginning. The board was in an uproar, investors were threatening to pull out. She shook her head. I felt like everything I'd built was crumbling. That's why you looked so lost. And then I heard your ridiculous jokes, she said, bumping her shoulder against his, and for a moment none of it mattered. I remembered what it felt like to laugh without agenda. Ethan looked out over the water. I've been the entertainment committee in our household for years now. Jokes, silly voices, whatever it takes to make Lily smile after she lost her mom. He hesitated, then admitted, sometimes I wonder if I'm doing enough, if she's okay. She's more than okay, Natalie assured him. She's thriving because she has a father who would do anything for her. That's all any child really needs. They stopped walking, facing each other in the glow of a streetlight. Ethan was acutely aware of how close they were standing, how easy it would be to close the distance between them. Natalie, he began, uncertain of what he wanted to say. She saved him again, reaching up to touch his face gently. I know we come from different worlds, Ethan, but being with you and Lily these past few weeks has been the happiest I've felt in years. Same here, he admitted, but I can't help wondering what someone like you sees in someone like me. Natalie's expression turned serious. Someone who works hard without complaint, who raises his daughter with love and respect, who makes terrible jokes when a stranger looks sad, she smiled. What's not to see? When their lips finally met, it felt like coming home to a place Ethan had forgotten existed. The kiss was gentle, questioning at first, then deeper as they both surrendered to what had been building between them. I should warn you, he murmured when they parted. I come with a very opinionated 9-year-old who will definitely have thoughts about this development. Natalie laughed. I'm counting on it. Her approval rating means everything. As it turned out, Lily's approval was enthusiastic and immediate. When Ethan nervously explained that he and Natalie were spending more time together, Lily had simply rolled her eyes. Duh, Dad. I've been waiting forever. Can Natalie teach me to code now? She promised. The transition from friends to something more brought new complexities. Ethan insisted on paying his own way when possible, though Natalie often found creative workarounds. She hired him legitimately for additional construction projects, respecting his pride while appreciating his skill. For her part, Natalie began to find balance between her work and personal life for the first time. She delegated more, trusted her team, and discovered that the company didn't fall apart when she took a weekend off. The more time she spent with Ethan and Lily, the clearer her priorities became. 4 months into their relationship, Ethan invited Natalie to dinner at their small apartment for the first time. He'd been hesitant to bring her to their modest 2-bedroom walk-up, but Natalie had gently insisted. I want to see where you live, she'd said, the place that made you who you are. He spent the entire day cleaning, with Lily appointed as quality control officer. They made lasagna together, nothing fancy, but one of their family specialties. When Natalie arrived with a bouquet of wildflowers and a bottle of sparkling cider for the whole family, Ethan felt a surge of emotion watching her take in their home the mismatched furniture, the walls covered with Lily's artwork, the family photos featuring Sarah that he'd kept prominently displayed. Natalie moved immediately to these photos, studying them quietly. She was beautiful, she said softly. Lily has her smile. Yes, Ethan agreed, standing beside her. I hope you don't mind that I keep these up. It's important for Lily to remember, and of course I don't mind, Natalie interrupted, taking his hand. Sarah will always be Lily's mother and an important part of your lives. I would never want to change that. During dinner, Lily entertained them with stories from school, comfortable in her role as hostess. After the meal, she pulled out a book of riddles, declaring it was Natalie's turn to provide the jokes. I'm not sure I'm qualified, Natalie laughed. Your dad is clearly the expert. Just try, Lily encouraged. Dad says practice makes perfect. Natalie took the book, cleared her throat dramatically, and began. What has a neck but no head? A bottle, Lily shouted before Ethan could guess. That's right, Natalie confirmed. Your turn, Ethan. Why didn't the bicycle stand up by itself? He asked. Why? Both Lily and Natalie responded in unison. It was too tired. Their groans filled the small apartment, followed by laughter that seemed to make the space feel warmer, more complete. Later, after Lily had gone to bed, Ethan and Natalie sat on the worn sofa, talking softly. Thank you for tonight, Natalie said, nestled against him, for letting me into your home, your life. It's not much compared to what you're used to, Ethan said, gesturing around the apartment. It's everything, Natalie countered. This is a real home, Ethan. Do you know what I go home to? An empty penthouse with furniture I didn't choose and views I never look at. She turned to face him. I've been successful by most measures, but until I met you and Lily, I didn't realize how much I was missing. Ethan brushed a strand of hair from her face. And now I know exactly what I want, she said with certainty, and it has nothing to do with market share or profit margins. As their relationship deepened over the next several months, they settled into a comfortable rhythm. Natalie became a fixture at Lily's soccer games, cheering louder than anyone. Ethan found himself attending corporate events as Natalie's partner, initially uncomfortable but gradually finding his place. They navigated their different worlds together, building something new that incorporated the best of both. When Christmas approached, Lily had only one request for Santa. I want us to be a real family. Ethan and Natalie exchanged glances over Lily's head, a silent conversation passing between them. They had discussed the future, cautiously at first, then with increasing certainty. Ethan had worried about moving too quickly, about disrupting Lily's stability. Natalie had her own concerns about stepping into the role of stepmother, about honoring Sarah's memory while creating something new. But Lily, with the straightforward wisdom of children, saw what they sometimes overcomplicated. They belonged together. The morning of Christmas Eve found them at the local tree farm, searching for the perfect tree, a Parker family tradition that now included Natalie. As Lily ran ahead to examine every possible option, Natalie slipped her hand into Ethan's. "I have something to ask you," she said, her breath visible in the cold air. "That sounds serious," Ethan teased, though his heart rate quickened. Natalie took a deep breath. "I've been thinking about what Lily said about being a real family." She paused, gathering courage. "What would you think about making that official? You, me, Lily, a family." Ethan felt a rush of emotion. "Are you proposing to me, Natalie Cooper?" She laughed, the sound bright in the crisp air. "I guess I am. Is that okay, or should I have waited for you to ask?" "It's perfect," Ethan said softly. "Just like you." He pulled her close, kissing her among the pine trees, snow beginning to fall gently around them. When they separated, he reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a small box. "Great minds think alike," he said, opening it to reveal a simple but elegant engagement ring. "I was going to do this tomorrow morning, but now seems right." Natalie's eyes widened. "You were planning to propose." "For weeks," he admitted. "I even asked Lily's permission." "What did she say?" Natalie asked, eyes shining. "She said it was about time," Ethan laughed, "and that you make the best pancakes, which is apparently a crucial qualification." Natalie wiped away happy tears as Ethan slid the ring onto her finger. "I love you both so much," she whispered, "more than I ever thought possible." "Dad, Natalie, I found it," Lily's excited voice carried through the trees. "The perfect one." They found her standing proudly beside a slightly lopsided tree that was just a bit too tall for their apartment ceiling. "It's perfect," Natalie agreed, bending down to Lily's level. "And we have some news. Your dad and I are getting married." Lily's eyes grew enormous. "For real?" "Like really for real, Ethan confirmed, putting his arm around Natalie's shoulders. Lily launched herself at them both, nearly knocking them over with the force of her hug. "This is the best Christmas ever." As they worked together to secure the massive tree to the roof of Ethan's now repaired sedan, Natalie couldn't help laughing at the absurdity of it all. A year ago, she had been alone in a coffee shop, her company in crisis, her personal life non-existent. Now she was helping strap an enormous Christmas tree to a car that was probably worth less than her shoes, engaged to a construction worker with the worst jokes in Seattle, and happier than she'd ever been in her life. "What's so funny?" Ethan asked, tightening the final rope. "Just thinking about how we met," Natalie said, "how different our lives were." "Do you ever regret it?" he asked. "Getting involved with a struggling single dad?" "Not for a second," she said firmly. "You know, the day we met, I was convinced I'd lost everything that mattered, but I was wrong." "I hadn't found it yet." Ethan's face softened. "I have one more joke for you." "Let me hear it," she said, already smiling in anticipation. "What did the millionaire say to the construction worker with bad jokes?" "What?" "Yes," Ethan said simply, his eyes full of love. Natalie groaned, then laughed. "That was terrible, the worst yet. But you're still here," he pointed out. "Always," she promised, sealing it with a kiss as snow continued to fall around them, covering the world in possibility. The following spring found them standing together in a small garden ceremony, surrounded by friends and family. Lily, serving as both flower girl and ring bearer, took her duties with utmost seriousness, carefully walking down the aisle in a dress she'd helped design. Their vows were simple and honest. Ethan promised to keep making terrible jokes through good times and bad. Natalie vowed to remember what truly mattered, no matter how busy life became. They both pledged to honor Sarah's memory and to build their future together with love and respect. When they were pronounced husband and wife, Lily was the first to cheer, running up to join their embrace. The three of them stood together, a family created not by circumstance but by choice and love. At the reception, Ethan tapped his glass for attention. "I want to make a toast," he announced, taking Natalie's hand. "To the beautiful stranger who laughed at my jokes when she could have ignored me, who saw value in a single dad trying his best, who taught me that life can begin again when you least expect it." Natalie squeezed his hand. "And to the man who knew exactly what I needed before I did, who showed me that success isn't measured in dollars but in moments of joy." who, along with his amazing daughter, gave me the greatest gift of all, a family. Later, as they danced under twinkling lights, Lily swooped in to cut in, declaring it was her turn to dance with both her parents. Both? Ethan questioned gently. Yeah, Lily said with certainty. I have Mom in heaven and Natalie here. I'm lucky that way. Natalie blinked back tears as she took Lily's hand. I'm the lucky one, sweetheart. As they swayed together on the dance floor, Ethan marveled at how life could change in an instant, how a simple joke told to cheer a stranger could lead to a love story he never expected to have twice in one lifetime. What are you thinking? Natalie asked, catching his expression. That sometimes the best punchlines take time to deliver, he answered, pulling both his girls closer. And sometimes, Natalie added, resting her head on his shoulder, the joke's on us in the best possible way. Together, they stepped into their future, a family built on laughter, understanding, and the kind of love that doesn't care about bank accounts or social status, only the joy found in sharing life's journey, one terrible joke at a time.